Hey, 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 happy Wonderland Wednesday. It's been a while since we've been on a Wednesday, anyways. It's good to see your faces. Thank you so much to everyone that's tuning in live. We've got a really special treat for you today. Live on the show is going to be voice actress Justine Huxley. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably already fans, but if you're not familiar with Justine, she's best known as the voice of Wattson on Apex Legends. Justine is also the voice of Little Red Riding Hood on Goldie and Bear. She's done a ton of stuff, so we're going to get started and jump in right now. You're here. Hey, girl. Thank you so much. Yes, it's good to see you. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's good to see so many faces live.
Hi.
Hey, how are
Oh,
you?
good. How are you?
I'm great. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Thanks for
It's,
having me.
of course, it's so good to see your face.
Thanks. You too. I think the last time we saw each other in person was at a fast food commercial that we did like maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
I know, I was thinking about that because like the past year is just feels like it didn't exist. So even
hmm
like, yeah, 3 or 4 years, it seems like a long time, but I feel like I catch up with you online. So, but yeah, what? That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Next year, we're going to make this happen.
Let's make it happen. Definitely.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. For anybody that hasn't checked out the show, this is Alicyn's Wonderland. We do weekly interviews with people that work in animation and video games. Super fun. And we're super excited to have Justine on today. I've been wanting to have you on the show, since we started it. I just love seeing your posts, and you always have such positive energy and
Thank
such
you.
such delightful, updates. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I love seeing all of your Instagramming and all your social media with your son and all your projects. It's so nice.
He's just so much cuter than me.
He's
It's like it's
so
hard
cute.
not to
He's
just
just adorable.
it's hard not to just make it the Bodhi show. But so yeah, I'm curious for the people that are tuning in that are coming over from Justine's page. What are your favorite roles that Justine has done? And I feel like there's been, Apex Legends is huge. It was the 2020 Game of the Year, and you've been doing a lot of signings with the other voice actors. So I imagine that a lot of your fan base is coming over from that. Do you think that's right?
That's probably true. Yeah, I feel like I've been a working voice actor for about 10 years, but this last year and a half with Apex Legends has really taken my career to a new level. It's the fandom, the fan art of for my character Wattson, who's a French electrical engineer scientist, is remarkable. It's so amazing. And I think there's something like 100 million players now of the game, which is insane.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's such a
Yeah.
huge percentage of just even the world's population.
I
That's
know.
insane. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually jumped on one of your streams this week to check it
Oh,
out, and
yeah.
you were doing some signings, so that was so awesome.
Thanks.
Um, I was so curious. Now, when you auditioned for the role, did you know what a huge property Apex Legends was?
No,
Or
because when I auditioned, the game hadn't come out yet. So even
okay,
though my character came out in the second season of the game was about to come out. It was going to come out in February, and my character didn't come out until June 2019. So I really had no idea. It was still under code name. I didn't know it was Apex Legends. I asked them who else was going to be in it. I heard, a great list of actors. One of my friends, Allegra Clark, who's a great voice actress. I heard that she was going to be in it from one of the developers, and that was really exciting to me. But otherwise, I had no idea. They said they were going to do no press for it whatsoever. They were just going to drop it day of and
which is
see
very
what
unusual
happened,
for
which is
EA, and
really unusual. And it just blew up. I think within the first day or two, it hit something like 50 million players or something. It was insane.
wow.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to? Is there one thing that you think is like the special sauce, or do you think it's a combination of things?
I think, well, battle royale games are so huge right now,
Yeah.
especially like Fortnite. But
Yeah.
with Apex Legends, the writers are so good.
Yeah.
And like one of our head writer also writes for theater. And so he's not just a video game writer. He's not just,
Yeah.
an animation writer. He writes, real characters that are fun, and, cartoony in a way, but also, the writers give a lot of depth to their characters, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of lore in this game. A lot of games don't have the amount of lore that Apex Legends does, but you really find out so much about the characters as time goes on. My character's reveal started out with her and her father talking about science and what was going to happen, and you realized her father had passed away, so it was a flashback, and so it was really emotional, and she was going to do what she could for him and carry out his legacy in the games. So I think people really enjoy that. Also, every character is super different. Everyone is very diverse. There are LGBTQ characters. There's a non-binary character. There's a character from the Caribbean. My character is French. There's a character from the Pacific Islands. There's a robot character that's really funny. There's a Scottish character that just came out, El Newlands. There's an Indian character that just came out. So it's a very diverse group, which is awesome.
Yeah, I did. Now, do you speak French?
I do a little bit. I took 5 years of French in middle school and high school, so
That's a lot.
It was, but it's been a while since I've been in class. So I do speak a little bit of French, but it's funny because Allegra Clark, who plays a Norwegian, like a Nordic character, she's the one that speaks fluent French. She went to French high school and elementary school all her life. So she's the one that I ask for French help usually.
Is she in LA? Did she go to the French school in Los Angeles? Yeah.
No, she grew up in New York, so she went to French New York. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing a little research. You were a musical theater major, just like Kimberly Brooks. A lot of voice actors, it seems like, come from the world of musical theater because it's both an acting background and being able to sing and manipulate your voice, and you sing in a lot of your roles as well for voiceover. So talk to us about kind of how you got your start in theater.
Sure. So I've been doing theater since I was a kid. And I joined.
I feel like we would have gotten along.
Oh, totally. Yeah, definitely.
I feel like putting on plays in the backyard.
Harmonizing in in the corridors. I was obsessed with Stephen Sondheim, the composer. Since I was a kid, my parents had all we had laser discs back then. And and we had the laser discs of all the PBS live performances of Into the Woods, Sunday in the Park with George, all of the shows and all of the Rodgers and Hammerstein. I would go up. I think my mom said when I was 2 years old, we would travel for vacations to San Francisco a lot because we had friends there, and I would go up on Ghirardelli Square and start doing a Rodgers and Hammerstein concert for like 30 minutes at 2 years old. I knew all the words to all the songs of Oklahoma, Carousel, King and I, Sound of Music, and people were just like, what is this 2-year-old doing? And my mom was like, and you had perfect pitch too. It was insane. So it was funny. I used to play games. My dad is a composer, and
for TV, film?
Yes,
theater?
for TV, film. He also used to own a recording studio, and so I kind of grew up in the recording industry my whole life. And my mom, when I was a baby, she told me that sometimes my dad would be scoring scary movies, like very, TV, like old 80s, 90s movies that were,
Twilight Zone,
very cheesy and scary. And it would, when she needed sleep and I wouldn't sleep when I was a baby, him on his synthesizer playing these like super scary musical musical interludes, I would just like be like, oh, this is so nice. As a baby, that was like the thing that calmed me down. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
What part of Los Angeles did you grow up in? You grew up in LA, right?
Yeah, in Sherman Oaks. Yeah.
In Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
Shokes.
Yeah.
Hey, Valley girl. Are you still in the Valley?
I'm still in Sherman Oaks. Yeah.
Yeah, girl. That's amazing.
Are you in the Valley too?
I'm a Valley girl too. I'm in Toluca Lake. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So I grew up living right next to Barry White. And that was
the Barry White.
The Barry White and his whole family. We lived up a long driveway, and his whole family lived, like, we were at the top of the driveway, and then his whole family lived from us down to the bottom of the driveway. And they would have crazy parties where he would bring in camels and elephants. It was insane. And like sometimes we'd have to call him up and be like, Barry, we're so sorry. Can you please move your elephant?
It's Tuesday, Barry.
Yeah.
We gotta sleep.
Yeah.
He would just come and sing you a lullaby, like, hey,
right. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I was good friends with his little nephew. We would go swimming all the time. Yeah, so I've always grown up in the music industry. And hanging out at my dad's recording studio, I used to love. And my dad sometimes made certain albums that he produced, and so sometimes he'd use me as like a little kid backup singer. So I love doing that. And then I joined this theater group called the Youth Academy of Dramatic Arts, which is still going in LA. And I met some of my best friends there. Yada.
Yada? Yada.
Yada.
I've heard the legends of Yada.
Yes. And I loved it so much. Some of my best friends are from Yada. We still
do you age out of that? Because I feel like we should go back and join it.
Oh, we should totally go back. I think they might have an adult group. I know. I would love to. That was like
2021, baby.
That was my favorite time of my life, going to Yada. It was so amazing.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started doing like show after show at Yada, and started doing I started my own little theater company when I was in high school. We put on Sondheim reviews, and I went to a performing arts high school for theater. I went to LACHSA, which is the LA County High School for the Arts. So yeah.
How fun.
Yeah.
You pretty much had my dream childhood, I think. Like growing up in Los Angeles, theater, high school. I was stuck in Massachusetts, just at a public school trying to get my theater on.
Were you in Boston, in Massachusetts?
Outside the city, a small town called Hanson. It's a pretty big college. Yes.
But I bet you got to see theater in Boston.
Yes. We would get to go see some shows at the Wang Center.
Nice.
It's really fun.
That's so one of my best friends went to Emerson, and so I would visit him when I was going to school in New York, and I would see all the shows in Boston. It was so much fun.
What's your best friend's name?
Andrew Oberstein.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know him, but that's where I went to school too.
He went to Emerson too.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, he went for musical theater. Yeah. Did you go for musical theater?
No, I was visual media arts.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool.
I see some people have some questions that they're typing in at the bottom. Go ahead and type those into the question mark box, and then I will try to get to them, but I don't want to make any guarantees. So if you have questions for Justine and they're appropriate, we just might get to them. So thanks guys for tuning in live. I hope that you go ahead and follow this channel, which is my channel. I never know how to say that without sounding like a total nerd. Anyway, follow me for more of these if you like it. No pressure. Yes, it's so musical theater, and then you went to school. And did you think you were just gonna be on Broadway or have a life in the theater exclusively? Did you know?
Yeah, I just found my 5th grade autobiography the other day, which is entitled Barbara Streisand, Here I Come, which is the funniest thing ever.
Justine, oh my God, you need to do a staged reading of this.
I think I do. I submitted it to, Mortified?
Yes.
Yes, I submitted to Mortified, and they were like, it's not mortifying enough. I'm like, it's pretty mortifying.
Do you know, I also got that from Mortified. I didn't have enough details I also was rejected, so.
Oh, yeah. The best ones get rejected.
Just throw in, and then I, you know, I mean, you can mortify it up and lie, but no. Well,
Yeah.
so Barbara,
So, yeah,
she was
Barbara Streisand, Here I Come. In my 5th grade autobiography, I said I'm either gonna live in Sherman Oaks or New York, and it was so funny. And that's exactly what I did. I lived in Sherman Oaks, New York, and back to Sherman Oaks, which is crazy. But I really thought, you know, when I was applying to schools, I went to theater school in New York at SUNY Purchase in the acting conservatory. I thought when I graduated, I was going to be on Broadway and do musical theater for the rest of my life and plays. Maybe, you know, maybe do a little bit of TV and film, but I was like Broadway all the way. And when I graduated, it was really tough. Obviously, it's, you know, not what everyone thinks. It was tough to get an agent. It was the economic collapse of you know, the late, the late aughts, and it was really tough. And I couldn't even get. I booked a tour of the show Max and Ruby, and I played Ruby the Big Bunny. I don't know if your son has watched that cartoon.
No, but I narrated a series of audiobooks for Max and Ruby.
Oh, that's so cute.
Funnily enough. Yeah,
so I did the live musical version of it, written by the woman, the songwriter that wrote Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which is so funny. So the music was really good. Yeah. And we went all over the Northeast, South. We went to 14 different states. We toured with it. It was so fun. It was a crazy experience.
And you were like fresh out of college?
Yeah, fresh out of college, like a month or two out of college.
You must have been so excited.
It was so exciting. And then I came back and there was nothing. I couldn't even get a waitressing job, any job, like even the jobs at restaurants. People would be in lines for hours just to try and get them because the economic collapse was so bad. So New York was tough for me. And I think after about a year and a half of being, after graduating, I said, you know what, I have so many student loans. It was so expensive to live in New York, carrying all the bags on my shoulders every day with the subway and the snow and slipping on, you know, black ice. I was like, I think I need to take a break and move back home and, you know, get some nice weather. And I missed my family. And so I moved back to LA thinking like, I'll just move back for like 6 months. I'll get a job and I'll make more money. And then I'll move back to New York, or maybe a year, and see what happens. I just need to like regroup and think about what I'm doing. And when I moved back, my cousin, who is a voice actor, Blair Bess, he used to be the promo voice for MSNBC, and he used to do all the Carl's Jr. commercials. He does a ton of commercials and promos. He suggested, you know, you have all this theater training, and you're a singer. Why don't you try to get into voiceover? And I'll recommend this coach, Nancy Wolfson, who's a great commercial coach. Why don't you start training with Nancy? And then when you are done training, make your commercial demo, and I will introduce you to my agents. And I was like, wow, that's great. Okay, let me try that, because I've never really done voiceover. I'd done a looping gig when I was a kid for Vegas Vacation, which was really fun. I think I was like 10 years old, but that was the only voiceover I had ever done. And so I was like, you know, it's very different from theater. It's similar in the way that, you know, for cartoons and animation, it's big and you can play anything. And there's, you know, it's like larger than life a lot of times. But you have to have mic technique. You need to be able to create a character without them seeing your body, and without dancing, and without, you know, your facial expressions.
Yeah.
So that was a good lesson. And I started doing that about 10 years ago. And for like the first 2 years, I was only doing commercials. And that was really it. And then I switched agents because I really wanted to do animation and promos. And I started doing a lot of promos for the Music Choice channel. I would do those like every couple days, which was amazing. I did those for like 2 or 3 years. And then I booked I'm the promo voice for the TNT network. I do their daytime sponsorships every week almost. So that's been amazing. And I booked my first animation series, which was Goldie and Bear on Disney. And I played,
so that was your first series.
Yes.
And you booked one of the leads.
Yes, it was so amazing.
It must have been a happy day.
It was amazing. I was very nervous because I almost couldn't make the call back because I was in rehearsal for a new musical workshop. And it was a big deal. There were all these, huge people involved in the workshop. And they had, the Goldie and Bear people had to work around my schedule. And I felt really bad because I think they were seeing all Little Reds at one time. And I was like, I can only come in on my lunch break because I'm already in rehearsal for this. And I was super nervous. And there were all these greats, like Kathy Susie was there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm just this little nobody that does commercials and promos. And I've done a few video games and a lot of theater, but I haven't done anything. I'm just happy to even have gotten a callback. I think it was my first animated callback as well. So, so I was in shock when I booked it. I'm so delighted and excited. And yeah, it really was a huge deal for me.
Your voice is so cute on that. Will you give us a little sample?
Oh yeah. And I've got Little Red.
Oh,
yeah. She just goes, la, 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 la. And she's, she's kind of, she's a little bit of a busybody, and she thinks she knows everything because she does. So,
That was great. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. So your agents must have been pretty stoked.
Yes. Yeah. It was really exciting.
Did you train with anybody for animation? I know you mentioned Nancy Wilson for commercials.
Yeah. I trained with Lori Allen, who's an incredible voice actress on SpongeBob and Family Guy. And she helped me get my animation demo done. Yeah. We wrote characters together. We picked out characters from copy that she gave me. And then we worked with Susan Palio at Voice Tracks West.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, love Susan. Susan's done my animation demo, my promo demo. She's amazing. And
she's still in Los Angeles? Did she move?
Yeah, she's still at Voice Tracks West.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while. Oh, I hope she's doing good.
Yeah.
So, and what about now? Do you ever coach for auditions, or do you just feel
I literally just coached with Lori this afternoon because I have a big audition tomorrow. And I don't coach that often anymore. But there's an audition tomorrow that I was like, you know what? I just need, and also during this pandemic, I haven't been recording at all at studios. I've only been recording in my home studio. And so, I'm just listening to myself all the time. And I just wanted another pair of ears to be like, yeah, you're on the right track, but let's try this way and see if that clicks, and let's try it another way. And that was so helpful for me because sometimes I'm just I'm so sick of my voice that I'm I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And, a lot of it is self-direction. So
yeah. And it's if you spend too much time working it, it's then it sounds overworked, and you're like, oh, I like the way I did that beat, but this part, it's that fine line between spontaneity and understanding the role, and it's you don't want to overwork it either. So it's I feel like working with somebody helps you just bring that spontaneity to it, because you're like, okay, here we go. We're doing this for real now. Yeah.
And it also helps. Because most auditions that we do as animation voice actors, we're not having the other person say the other lines. We have to just go right in. And so it's really nice to have somebody acting off of you.
Yeah.
Because, that's why I love group sessions so much. I really miss group records a lot.
I know. How have you been doing since March? How has your pandemic experience been?
Yeah, I mean, everything's been from home.
Do you have roommates? Do you live alone, live with family?
Right now I'm living with my mom. So yeah,
that's
we're
good.
Cleaning together, which is nice because we're cooking a ton and it's been really nice. So I have made my closet a much more soundproof space, which is great. I got really great sound panels, and I upgraded my microphone, so now I have an even better setup, a better interface, and I got Source Connect, which for those of you that don't know, is a way so that you can record while the person on the other line can hear what your mic sounds like. And they can record from their end as well. So that was really helpful, because if I didn't have Source Connect, I really wouldn't be able to work in this pandemic time.
Yeah. So prior to the pandemic, were you going to studios mostly?
I was mostly going to studios. My TNT job, luckily, it was just they would send me copy and I would just send it back to them the next day. So that was pretty amazing. And that still happens. But for all the animation jobs, all the dubbing jobs, it was always in the studio. So it's been a huge learning curve, especially for dubbing, because there's a lot of a lag between you and the people on the other end, your director. So sometimes it's just like, okay, let's just guess where to put in this word or this sentence. So that's been an interesting challenge.
Yeah. Is it fun and interesting?
It's fun. It's fun. I really miss going into the studio. I really miss seeing people and getting directed. What about you? Are you totally recording from home, or are you going into the studios? And
I have only had one job that I went to Igloo for, and I was so grateful to be in the studio. It was amazing just to have an engineer there and not have to ride my own levels. I've had a broadcast quality studio that I do most of my stuff from, but I would, for animation and a lot of the commercials, they would want you to go in, like when I met you on that one. So I think, over time, the work didn't feel that different. I think everything in the beginning, the commercials the tone of everything just changed on a dime, and it was very sympathetic, and then it was like trying to make light. And so it was, but it took a while for it to feel different, because it wasn't like there was major changes that needed to happen. But then as time wore on and there's no people and no director, and that's been sad,
Yeah.
But fortunately we're all healthy, and I mean, I guess in another way it's great that your setup is like up leveled and you can do it from home.
Totally. Yeah. And I was doing it from home before sometimes, but to have a really good setup, like people ask me all the time, who are younger actors, how do I get into voice acting, especially during this pandemic? I say you've got to have the best setup, because people are losing jobs who don't have good home studios. So yeah,
absolutely. In terms of just even like your day-to-day life, not just work stuff, but life, how are you? Any things that you find inspiring these days, or things that are keeping you going?
So my boyfriend and I just binge watched The Queen's Gambit. Have you seen that yet?
No, but everybody's talking about it.
Good. And so I have been getting so into chess, and I just relearned it because I hadn't played since I was a kid. So I am now playing with a bunch of my friends through the chess.com app, like all over America. Like one of my friends is in Oregon and we played, one of my friends is in New York, and then my mom just found her dad's old chess set from the 1950s. So my boyfriend and I have been playing speed chess, and that's been so good. And it's supposed to be really good for your mind, like to help ward off Alzheimer's. And so I'm just having the best time doing chess. And
most people are just binge drinking, but not just me.
And we're playing a lot of board games, and I started a small business during quarantine.
Yes, tell us all about that.
So much fun. I did not plan on this at all. In August, I saw some really cool Instagram tutorials for this thing called ice dyeing, which is like tie dyeing, but you use powder dye and you put it on ice,
Uh-huh.
and the powder melts with the ice, and it creates this really cool watercolory effect. It's every piece is super unique and different, and nothing is ever the same. And I have been making shirts, hats, socks, masks, sweatshirts, hoodies, and it's been so much fun. It's been bringing people a lot of joy, which makes me happy because everything's super colorful.
Yeah.
And I really didn't think I was going to do this, but I posted one of my, just like a scrap piece on Instagram, I think. And then I posted, I made, and I was, my friend's little girls wanted t-shirts, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll make you t-shirts for your birthday. And I posted them, and people were like, oh my gosh, I've got to have these. And I was like, oh, okay, like this could actually be a little business. And it's just something really fun to do, like in between auditioning and in between working. Like each piece can take a day or two, which is a long time, but it's not like I have to work on it for a full day. Like each step could take like 5 to 10 minutes, and then I leave it for a full day, or I leave it for like 4 to 5 hours, and then I come back. And it's just a nice creative way to be artistic without using my voice, which is nice too, to like give my voice a break.
Yeah, it is. Once you're, as a creative person, it's so fun to delve into something new, so good for you for just, being willing to try something different.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. It's really exciting, and I've started doing like certain characters' colors that are requested. So my character in Apex Legends, Wattson, wears orange and blue. So a lot of people have requested orange and blue masks, or orange and blue ice dye shirts, which is cool. So I did like a Joker from Batman, red, green, and purple handkerchief the other day, and it's been,
And so how can viewers purchase your ice art?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. It's called Arctic Rainbow Shop, and you can DM me. All the info is in my latest post of prices and everything, and you can DM me for orders. And I'm only shipping in the US right now because of crazy shipping COVID stuff, because I know a lot of people have asked about international. So hopefully I'll do international soon, but right now it's just the US. And
they'll have to get a friend in the US to buy it for them.
Right, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I know that we have a couple questions in the question box, so let me just take a peek here. Someone who was Mike Martinez was asking about the vocal coach. She was saying it's Lori Allen, the one that has helped her with her animation demo. And then let's see, Mike also had another question. Can you say fence them in, fence them out?
Fence them in, fence them out. Yeah, that's a good Wattson quote.
People love that. And then so I was going to get to this question later, but we might as well talk about it now, about what advice you might have to people looking to break into voiceover.
So I always say the same thing. Go to D. Bradley Baker's website. I want to be a voiceactor.com. It's one of the most comprehensive voice actor websites. I still use it sometimes for callbacks. It helps so much. If you don't know who he is, he's an incredible voice actor that does all the creature voices on all your favorite shows, all the animals. He played a mama dragon and a baby dragon on Goldie and Bear, which is how I met him, which was so much fun. And he's so amazing, and he's been doing it for so long that he knows all the ins and outs, and he answers questions. But I would say really have a good acting base. It's called voice acting. I know that you agree with me on this. You can't just be a voice. You really have to have the acting behind it. So many people say, oh, well, my mom told me I have a really great deep voice. Sure, that's awesome. But if you don't know how to use your deep voice to make people feel things, or to enunciate, or, to be able to sell a product, then it doesn't really mean much.
Right. And there's so many different facets of voiceover that, you might be good or work in one and have less success in the other. There's not that many voiceover actors that, you know, like a Vanessa Marshall or something that work a lot in commercial, promo, video games. So it's kind of knowing like what your niche is. A lot of people are passionate about video games and animation and specifically want to do that, but there's not a lot of agencies that will just take on talent that only does animation, right? They usually want you to be able to be versatile, at least be able to do commercials, because it's sort of the powerhouse. So yeah.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or advice?
Yeah. I also feel like a theater background is so great, or some kind of live acting background. Like, so many of my voiceover friends are either theater actors, singers, musical theater performers, or have a background in stand-up comedy or improv. And I think that helps so much, because, you know, there is so much comedy in so much of the animation these days. There's so much comedy in commercials. If you know how to play a character and have rhythm, there's so much, like in stand-up comedy, it's so much about rhythm as well. In singing, in music, if you have a musical ear, a lot of times you're going to be able to match a voice. There's so much celebrity voice matching nowadays, because the celebrities aren't available to do their own ADR. So I've done a lot of celebrity voice matching, which has been a lot of fun. And so if you have that musical ear, if you take music lessons or singing lessons, I really think that can help too. And also for improv, I feel like I'm constantly asked to improvise for animated shows, because they want you to come up with something unique for the character. They might not use it, but it can get you in the mood of that character, or, you know, how to feel as that character.
And how do you approach breaking down a side? Like, take us through your process.
Sure. So I really like to do one like totally cold read first. Because sometimes that's the best read. Do you feel like that sometimes?
Yes. And I've been asking this question to pretty much all the voice actors that come on here, and it runs the gamut. But I do that too. And like, there's something about that first instinct, but then it's like the frustrating part is when it's like the first pass is like 85 or 90% there, and then you can't, if you try to replicate it, there's like something that can sometimes get lost in the translation. So it's always good to record that first pass and maybe punch in if you need to, or you know. But and do you, I mean, are you going through the script? Are you marking stuff up? Are you, you know, creating moment before? Or you just like improvise kind of like that, you know, just the energy of cold. You do cold, yeah?
I do cold. Sometimes it depends on what it is. For commercials, I don't usually mark. Do you usually mark for commercials?
I do. Well, I do.
Oh, that's good.
So like,
maybe I should do that more.
I worked with Dave Walsh for commercials, so he has like his True Tell method. So I kind of like do like a version of that. Dave's great. Dave Walsh.
I hear he's really good.
Inspiring.
I don't usually, like, commercials are more improvisational. A lot of times they're like, please, you know, improvise as much as you want for this commercial. So a lot of times I'll just improvise. And then for animation, I think it depends on the character. Yes, sometimes I will write down things and break it down, and sometimes I'll just be like stream of conscious, and that's what gets the job. So I think it really depends. I also, like, anytime there's an animation audition where they say they want you to sing at the end of it or sing before, I really work on trying to find, and they'll usually say, like, unless it's a specific song that they want you to learn for that audition, sometimes they'll just say, you know, pick a song, any song. And I always try and really do my homework and pick a song that really relates to the character and do it in the character's voice. Because I feel like if you're just singing as you are, they can't really get a sense of how you would sing in character, because a lot of people have beautiful singing voices, but they don't know how to sing in character. And that, you know, doesn't really help you telling the story of that character.
Right. Totally. You're like, here's my crazy voice, but I sing like a angel. It's like, it's not what they're looking for, people.
Right, exactly.
Let me just check in. You have some more questions. I don't know how much we're gonna make Justine work for us today, guys. Do you want to say that?
Oh, sure. They call me the Eye of the Storm. That's a good Wattson one. She's got a lot of electrical puns, so that's been a lot of fun. She's probably the most punny character I've done.
Punny. She's punny and funny. She's a funny gal. I can't. This question's too long. Actually, it's kind of cut off. So, let's see. People are asking about. So you've been doing a lot of signings, and was yesterday your last signing, or will there be another one? Tell us about the signings.
Yesterday was the last signing. I did it as a group with 6 of the other Apex Legends actors.
Fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yes, we had such a good time. Some of us did live signings together, and then we would do it solo. And it was really fun because, you know, in an actual live con that you go to in person, that you travel to, you're only getting to meet fans from that specific area or that specific con. But this was, I've never met so many fans virtually from all over the world. I got people from Japan, someone saying they follow me from Argentina right now. That's so cool. Rica, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, the UK. It was really cool to get to meet and write, you know, quotes for people all over the world and answer questions. So that was really fun.
Was that something the studio put together, or was that something the voice actors put together?
No, that was Anjali Bhamani, who plays Rampart in Apex Legends. She put it together with the Streamily company that does.
Cool.
Yeah. But I've actually never been to a real life con. We were supposed to. I got a con manager right before the pandemic, like a couple months before the pandemic, and a bunch of the Apex Legends actors were supposed to go to Celebrity Comic Con in San Antonio, Texas with William Shatner in June. We were supposed to possibly go this fall to the UK. There was a possibility of a Paris con. So I'm hoping next year will be the year of, you know, safely doing cons in person, or maybe 2022, because I've never done one and I've always wanted to do a live one.
Yeah, that's amazing. So in that particular case, then, do you have to mail them to other countries if people are calling you?
I mail them all to Streamily, the Streamily company, and then they take them out. Yeah.
Nice. Do they also want to, you know, deal with your ice dye stuff?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Hey, Streamily. Yeah, that's so cool that I think one of the things that's so great is you're just so great with fans and connecting with people and, you know, giving people a platform to be heard. So I loved being on your signing. It was really fun.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I was curious. So how many days did you actually record for Apex? Because I know sometimes it's like you're at this like huge role in a game, but it's like we recorded it in like 2 or 3 days, you know?
Yeah, so Apex is one of those ongoing games.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly recording for it. So I'm recording at least once every 2 to 3 months. But usually when I record, it's not more than a couple of hours because, you know, we just try and get everything in that we need to within a certain amount of time. So it's so funny, you know, people are always asking me like, oh, how did you do this in the game? And how did you do that? And it's like, guys, you're so sweet to ask, but I have no recollection because I recorded this season like 6 months ago or 8 months ago. And it's finally coming into the game because they put the game out in every language. So they have to record all the English speaking voices first, and then they record all the localization. So yeah, it takes a long time. And so they plan everything out many months in advance. So when I don't remember something, it's not that I don't care. It's just that I've gone on to the next season. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone.
Dark and Night just says, I love you, Justine.
Thank you, Dark and Night.
Yeah, so I was thinking, so in the, so then the localization, have you met like the Spanish Wattson? Have you communicated
No,
with
I
any?
haven't. I haven't, and I don't think they even have the same director.
Okay.
So yeah, I've never met them. I'd love, like, I told them on my stream, like, if anyone knows who they are, you know, shout them out to me, because I would love to meet them, because I've done dubbing myself, the English versions for other actors, like in Spanish or French, and I've done the English, so it would be cool to get to know who they are.
Totally. Yeah, there was, when I was working on Poppycat, the other voice actress that did my role, we would, you know, say hi and whatnot.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's very cool.
That's so cool.
You didn't do the French though?
No, I didn't. I'm not that fluent to do.
Yeah, we'll leave that for the native speakers.
Yes.
We've been talking a lot about Apex Legends, but I wanted to just talk about Kippo and the Wonderbeast, because it's such a cool show. And what was your experience like working on that?
So I didn't know really what this was about at all, because it was based off of a graphic novel.
Yeah.
And so we recorded so long ago. I think we recorded about 2 years. Me and some of the other Timber Cats in the show, we recorded about 2 years before the show came out. So I didn't even know if the show was coming out. I think like a year after, because usually like things take about a year in animation, because they usually, you are, unless you're dubbing, usually you are recording your voice and then they animate to your voice. So I figured, okay, about a year, I'll contact my agent and ask her, you know, is this coming out anytime soon? She was like, I really have no idea. Then a year and a half goes by. I'm like, am I still even in it? Have they replaced me? Like, I have no idea, because I didn't do any ADR for it. And I was like, you know, people get replaced all the time in voice acting. I know that people, you know, people probably don't know that aren't voice actors, but it happens all the time. And you can't take it personally. You just have to think, you know what? I wasn't the right fit for it, and move on to the next job. So I thought, you know, I probably got replaced, and that's okay. I'm really bummed, because I was really excited about it, but it, you know, it happens. And then I see something online, and promoting it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. So I contact my agent and I'm like, am I still even in this? She was like, actually, I'm not sure. So then she gets back to me and she's like, yes, you are. They just haven't announced your role yet. So I was so relieved and so excited. And on my second session is when I did the singing. And I was so excited, because my favorite living jazz singer, Leah Delaria, played one of my fellow Timber Cats. And I heard her in my earphones.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's on Orange is the New Black, and she is an incredible stand-up comic and jazz singer. I used to go all the time to see her sing when I was a kid in LA and New York. I traveled to Boston one time to see her sing when I was living in New York. I just love her so much. So I didn't know that she was going to be in the show. And when I was listening in my headphones, I was harmonizing with her, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So that was just one of the most exciting starstruck moments.
Did you reach out? Were you like?
I did. I reached out, and I saw her concert last year, or I guess in the beginning of 2020 when she was in LA. But yeah, it was really, really exciting.
Oh, that's such a cool. That's like one of those great, you know, amazing stories. You know, inspiring, and one of those stories that give you hope.
Yes.
10% of me wanted 10% of me wanted to follow up with like what's like a bad, but then I'm like, nah, it's just negative energy. I don't need to bring that in, you know.
Yeah. And I usually don't get like that starstruck with other performers, because you know, you and I work with celebrity performers all the time, and like that's so cool. But you know, they're people too. But when I get the most starstruck is celebrity chefs. there's a celebrity chef that just reposted a recipe that I just did of her, Mary Sue Milliken, from the Border Grill group and Two Hot Tamales. And I was so starstruck. I freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, she wished me a happy Thanksgiving on her page. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So anytime, and I just saw this other celebrity chef just liked my video the other day that I posted. I was just like, I just think celebrity chefs are the coolest.
You said you and your mom been cooking a lot. What kinds of stuff do you cook?
So I just made the most incredible pecan pie for Thanksgiving the other day, but no high fructose corn syrup. It was made with maple syrup and organic cane sugar. So it was a little bit healthier. I'm gluten-free, so we got a gluten-free crust from Trader Joe's. We cheated and got a gluten-free crust. But it was so delicious. I was like, really, it was amazing. And then I made really good, I always make cranberry sauce every year, and I use orange zest, I half the sugar, and then I use cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and a lot of ginger, and it's so good.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And I just got a blowtorch, so we're going to make pumpkin creme brulees this week, which I'm really excited about.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
You're a very thin person. You like all these treats. I want to come to your house.
If it was not a pandemic, I would say, please come in.
I know, someday.
Someday, when the pandemic's over.
Yes. So let me just go to see if we have. So, I think this is always a fun question. Best is a tough word. What is one of your favorite projects you've ever done? Apex, we've talked about that a lot. So
yeah,
not that.
Probably. I love them all, but getting my first animated role in Goldie and Bear, it was so special for me. Getting to record with my first day of recording was I did a group record with Jim Cummings, who is the voice of Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Darkwing Duck, and he played the Big Bad Wolf and I was Little Red. So we had a really awesome, hilarious scene together, and it was just such a masterclass in acting. David Kaufman was also acting with me, and Georgie Kidder, Natalie Lander. So it was so exciting. Also, Natalie Lander, who plays Goldie, we went to elementary school together, coincidentally, and her mom was my art teacher in elementary school. So it's such a small LA world.
Wow. Did you guys know each other?
Cool. We didn't know each other that well. She's a couple years older than me, so we weren't in the same grade, but we had started seeing each other on callbacks for musical theater in LA. Yeah. And then when we found out that we were both cast, we were so excited. So that was really special.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of your music, obviously you love to sing. Have you recorded any songs?
I haven't done like an album or anything. That would be really fun to do. I would love to do like an old jazz album. My mom is a singer. She's also a speech therapist, but she recorded an album when I was a kid called "Swingin' on a Star," and she had me and my little sister on when we were little kids, singing some old 1940s and 1950s songs that her mom used to sing to her. Aww. So I think it would be really fun to do a kind of album like that for kids that are just like old classic jazz songs. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I would love to play that for Bodhi.
Yeah.
People were wondering where they could hear your music. So, hey, global pandemic, maybe now's the time.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Did you say your dad was a producer? Is he still doing?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up.
Your dad was a producer?
Yeah, he used to produce, well, he still does. He still, now that we're in the pandemic, he's producing people from all over the world remotely. But he also created this instrument called the blaster beam that was heard in the Star Trek movies. And it's this huge beam that goes that spans an entire room. That's a rectangle-like thing with a bunch of strings, and it's really trippy. You can look it up on YouTube if anyone is interested. You just type in Craig Huxley Blaster Beam, or you could just type in Blaster Beam, and there's a video of him playing it. It's really sci-fi, new age. He did some Blaster Beam stuff for that movie 10 Cloverfield Lane. Was that the movie? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that was the movie. Yeah, it's really cool. So he's kind of he also was a child actor too.
Your dad?
So, yeah, he was on
Wow.
Bewitched. As a kid, he played Samantha's nephew. He was a little warlock. He had
On where?
water shooting out of his ears. Bewitched.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and he was on the Brady Bunch and all those old shows. Yeah, it was funny. So I kind of like got that bug from him, and my whole family is acting, singing, musicians. So yeah.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a sister. She's younger. Her name is Fiona Huxley, and she is a singer. She does a lot of like pop music.
Oh, nice. That's so great. I mean, that's sort of what it's about. When it's in your blood and you get to develop that at a young age, you can really, the world is your oyster.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was watching your episode with Debbie Derryberry, and she was saying that she went to med school, and I was like, wow, I think from the time I could talk, this is all I've ever wanted to do. I never thought I could do anything else. And I always envied my friends that were like, oh, I don't really know what I want to do. Like, let me dabble in this, let me dabble in that. And I was like, wow, that must be a nice thing, because for me, it was like, if I don't do this, I don't know what else I'm going to do, because I don't have a backup plan. I don't know what else I'm good at. This is like who I am. So I'm lucky it worked out.
Just apply for med school.
Right.
Well, can you tell us about anything you're working on right now?
Oh, sorry, you were breaking up again. Can I tell you about
anything you're working on right now?
Trying to think if there's anything that's non-NDA. I'm always working on Apex Legends. So, a new season just came out, but there is going to be some fun stuff in the future with Wattson. So you'll have to tune in for that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I've done a couple of dubbing projects over the pandemic that will probably be coming out soon. Singing in them as well, which is a lot of fun. And I think that's all I can say.
I totally hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me pretty much every week on the TNT channel saying relaxing things like TNT is brought to you by Evian water and things like that.
Now I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Justine, for coming to talk to us. We're at about the hour mark. If anybody has a couple last minute questions, I can try and get them in. Otherwise, I hope you subscribe to the show so that we can update you with more of these. Trying to think who's our guest next week. I have to look. It's going to be great though, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Any more questions for Justine before we say goodbye? Other than
someone said
lullaby.
Yes, I forgot to say the anime that I'm in. I play Sheta in Sword Art Online. That that came out recently. Like I think Lori Allen's on. Hi, Lori. Hi. It's Lori Talk 4.
You got a big shout out, Lori.
Yay, Lori. Yes. So yes, Lori is the one that I coach with. So
I guess everybody can just go follow her if you are interested in that.
Sword Art Online. I believe the new season just came out, so you can hear me in that. I play a very different role from what I usually do. She's an integrity knight, and she's very serious and quiet, and not as peppy as I am in real life.
So is that what she sounds like?
Yes, she's very, very serious, and she doesn't really have much emotion.
Wow. It reminds me of somebody, but I can't quite figure out who it is. Insert indie film actress here.
Yeah.
Well, just a few more requests to do a line or two as Wattson, and then we'll say goodnight.
Sure.
What's the best?
Someone wants me to say bonjour, Francis. That's his best friend. So, hi, Francis. Bonjour. Oh, Lori said you are so versatile. What do you attribute that? What do you attribute that to? Musical theater, I gotta say, because yeah, you can play so many roles in theater. Like when I was in high school, I was doing Polonius in Hamlet in a scene. He's an old man, so
Typecast again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, thanks so much for coming, Justine, and spending some time with us. We really appreciate it, and I'm wishing you a great rest of your week.
Thank you. I hope we can see each other and do something in person once this is all over.
2021 pumpkin brulees.
Yes, pumpkin brulees.
And coffee. Well, thanks, guys, so much, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.